Tell us more about the central role of Radha. I know in Kashmir Shaivism, there's the idea of Shiva and Shakti is the sort of creative feminine expression, and Shiva is the silent absolute and all. Is there a corollary between that and the Krishna-Radha relationship, or is it different?
Different. But Radha, in our tradition, is the goddess, the goddess part of the equation, because sometimes we use God, and again, God is a masculine term, and there has been so much chauvinistic patriarchal assumptions attached to the notion of God and so much toxic masculinity based on our conception of God as masculine and as a toxic masculine figure in many cases, that we end up being toxically masculine us men here on earth and unable to properly integrate our feminine side, or unable to properly deal with the feminine in itself. So for us, Radha-Krishna is like the two polarities, the two sides, the yin and the yang, if you want to use that term. So there is God and there is the goddess. It's one non-dual reality. We will say it's not two different people. It's the same non-dual absolute, but appearing in two forms for the sake of what we will call rasa, or the enjoyment of loving interaction. So Radha is the feminine side of the divine, representing mercy, representing sacred vulnerability, representing dedication, so many important feminine qualities. Krishna is the male side of the divine, which also represents a lot of feminine qualities in its own way, vulnerability and compassion and so on. It's not like they are opposites with one another. So our particular tradition makes lots of emphasis on Radha, lots of emphasis on the feminine. And that's very interesting to me, because though that's the emphasis in principle, in practice, in general, I don't see that much being embodied by many practitioners who still have a very much toxically male-oriented way to address reality or life. So that's interesting. I was reading once that sometimes we find in different cultures worship of goddesses like an unconscious way to make up for our lack of properly dealing with the feminine in our life. So I still feel we need a lot of work to do, but yeah, I dedicate a whole section in my book to Radha as the embodiment of love. Basically, that's another way of speaking. If love will have a shape, an embodiment, a personified expression in our tradition, we'll say that's Radha. And interestingly, in our tradition, though Krishna is most famously known as God, he is subservient to Radha as being the personification of love. We will find statements in scripture where Krishna says, I'm a student in the school of love, and Radha is my teacher, and I am a dancing puppet in her hand. So this very interesting, poetic, beautiful statement. So for us in our tradition, love is the goal of life, not God, but love. And love is the goal of life for us, and love is the goal of life for God, we will say. And when I say a goal of life, doesn't mean like something that once I attain, it's over, but it's an ongoing state of further attainment. So even God is love. Love by its very nature is insatiable and always invites for a new degree of expression. So it always invites for a new level of embracing that same reality. That's basically one of the main theses of my book. The nature of love is an insatiable a feast that invites for an insatiable appetite of always fulfilling newer and newer expressions of it.